Custom shop, vintage. Custom shop, vintage guitar. What guitar are you gonna get with your guitar buying money? This is the tough choice.
It sort of is.
Let's talk about Fender.
Yes.
In the world of Fender Custom Shop versus the world of Fender Vintage. You have two choices to jump into. You have the same amount of money. Which way are you gonna go? Which one's right for you? Or is there a right answer for all the time in some ways? It depends. What are you looking to do? So let's talk about the Fender Custom Shop for a minute. Probably the finest of all, like the custom shop developing teams out there. Like they started in 1986, full force in 87. It's been going gangbusters ever since. It was meant to be really just to build like show pieces, not to make money. You know, then you had like these famous rock and rollers wanting to have recreations of their vintage guitars too. And that just sent the whole ball of wax down the mountain, and then here we are today.
True.
Yeah, so that's why I always laugh, be like, ugh, who would want a relic? I'm like, well, Keith Richards, John Perry, Eric Clapton. It's a good skill.
I just think it's so funny. That's still such a divisive. And we occasionally
we don't get it very often.
Get the guy in here who's like, out loud, I just can't believe, blah blah.
Like,
looking at the wall.
They want. This is why they want it. It doesn't matter if you like it. It's cool. You don't like it. Some people don't like.
We don't care.
Golf carts. Some people don't like shoes. It's cool. Whatever you like.
Whatever.
No. So it's been a monster and a behemoth in the custom building instruments for decades at this point.
Yes.
And they build some of the best of the best. You can do pretty much anything you want, from vintage historic recreations to zany Viking Norse lord crushing guitars.
Whatever you want to do.
The world is your oyster, as Al Pacino once said. Now, the world of vintage.
Yes.
Classic, steadfast, built in the history, the gallowed halls of Fender of yore.
Yes.
Now we're talking vintage from pre-65, pre-CBS. Oh my God, the holy grail. Can you get it? It's really expensive. Probably not, right? I mean, how many vintage pre-60s Strats do you or I? Yeah, we're not going to talk about that right now. Big goose egg at the moment. But now let's get into more vintage stuff. We've had a whole video on vintage guitars too. You should watch that as well. And what is vintage? But let's say all the way up to 1979. Yeah, there's so many options. Now we got to choose which one's better.
Nope.
Well, now it's going to be there's situations. Is it better across the board? Is it better for you? What are you buying this guitar for? Are you buying it as an investment? Are you buying this guitar to play the guitar? Are you buying it to hang on the wall? Are you buying it for bragging rights? Are you buying it for parts? Let's talk about buying a guitar for an investment.
Don't do it. Don't do it. But if you did, buy a vintage guitar.
The rule of thumb is, it's not the greatest investment all the time. It's like people are like, oh, your money's safe. I'm like, yeah, sorta. Depends if you buy high.
I mean, it sort of kind of is, but it's like, I feel like you still have to. The reason is that you love the guitar. You love guitar in general. Then if you're a collector who just loves guitars and you're like, you know what, I got to do something with all this money I got laying around and I'm buying old guitars, cool. But if you're like, man, I hate guitars, I know nothing about them, and I just want somewhere to
shell my money away.
Don't do it. That's
just
dumb.
Go get a bond or treasury bond or something.
Yes,
you'll be safer, and you get your money back later, and you'll make some interest.
Not as fun, but much better. But yeah, if you're a collector, cool. And in that scenario,
for most of the time, vintage all the way.
Yeah.
Like, we're not gonna lie about that. That'd be absurd. Like, just vintage is the best way. You can usually turn it back in, unless again you bought crazy high.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Some custom shop pieces. We've seen the people buy these and flip them. Not even custom shop. God, remember the Silver Sky craze years ago?
But it's hard to predict that stuff.
You know what I mean? Like, and then the really value doesn't last sometimes.
It's hot and it's trendy and then it's gone.
Yes.
Or a vintage piece is much across the board much better at like holding its value and then probably appreciating.
Let's jump into the hard one. Buying it to actually play it and gig with it and have fun with it and have an in-tune and intonated guitar that works.
It's really hard for me not to say custom shop.
I think I have to agree in the most cases there too.
Because I think, like, for me, right, the vintage stuff that I'd be interested in that I really want to have, I can't afford. I can maybe scrape together and afford the custom shop version because they're expensive too, but relatively they're much less.
And your values don't always hold. Like sometimes they do. Like if you hold on to, like, Gibson and Fender have a good record of holding pretty well, but if they keep producing a mass amount when they try to, it
it definitely changes it. You know,
how many R9s can exist?
But you get an amazing guitar that is a joy to play, and I think they're inspirations just to want to pick them up. The thing about people who go out and buy vintage stuff, and some people love the vintage stuff and they play it, but it usually seems like it's a compromise for normal everyday people.
It's an interesting way to look at it.
Because they're like, oh, this is a refin and it's not that great and it's had new frets and the body was burned in the fire and I have new pickups. But it's like, but it's a 67 or whatever.
So that's true. No, if I get a true vintage like all the way, there is some mojo magic, I think sometimes. There are compromises as far as the playability of it.
The playability is still
like you're gonna probably need a refret, obviously, but then because I played these vintage ones without and you're falling off the fretboard. Yeah. Some of the pickups are a little bit ice picky because they age differently too. Those bridge pickups in a Strat, it's different. The neck pickups are usually magic, but it's tricky at the same time.
I mean, I have to say the best pickups I've ever heard have been on an old actual pre-CBS Strat. Like those are amazing, and I'm sure it's probably the same for the right set of PAFs.
Well, and part of that's because they're old, and they've had those decades of just like bam, and the magnets and the pull and the sweat and the flesh. And here's the other thing I like about a custom shop a little bit better, besides the playability and the functionality. I like that I know I'm most likely not getting a counterfeit.
Especially if you buy it new.
If you're buying it new from an authorized dealer of sorts, if secondhand market, you never know what you're getting, but usually pretty safe, except for this whole thing we just did a video on that, so stay tuned for that too. But no, I feel more comfortable with it. As far as the safety of the guitar, but also just as far as the tone of it too. Like I've had a lot more luck of my playability and my tone on it. I do have some great vintage pieces. I'm lucky enough to have some.
Vintage stuff is really fun.
I play my custom shops more.
The most I've ever enjoyed a guitar, like that, my most enjoyable, inspiring playing experiences have been with custom shop stuff, like newer custom shop stuff.
Like we have a closet of 70s tellies that are not for sale. They're just like sort of holding on to them and because we think they're cool. But my Todd Krause Fender Custom Shop demolishes all of them, like hands down, as far as a playing machine.
I mean,
I've had that for a long time too.
A 60s like Camaro is really fun. Like a 67 Camaro, like a little Trans Am, super fun. But if I got to go race for real, do I want that?
Well, let's say you had a 65 Mustang even, something like that. It might not be ready for the race yet, but it'll get there. But it'll be a different racing experience.
Sure.
It's a different.
And you get into the whole like struggling against the guitar and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know.
Well, that's the fun thing about like Gibson and Fender. Like they still built the struggle in there because that's just inherent in the design of those pieces. Design of those guitars. Can't really help it. Is intonation perfect? Hogwash to the intonation, I say. Is your fret height perfect? No, of course not. It's custom shop creates some of those issues of vintage, but no, it's overall, like if you have a chance to get your hands on, like if you've never played a custom shop piece, and this blew me with Gibson in particular, like I was like, it looked almost identical as a production.
Yeah.
And I played a custom shop. This was my first time.
It is, and I think
I was really frustrated.
Bigger gap for the Gibson stuff. Unfortunately, I hate that. Like there's
with
such
production to custom.
Production to custom.
And it seems like it wouldn't because the look is so same. Like Fender, the looks can be all zany.
And Gibson even just Gibson USA is all still nitro. You would think on paper that it would be closer.
There's something.
But like to me, in the SG is where it's the most glaring. Like I play most of the production SGs and I want to love them and think it's amazing. And I'm like, I don't know. And then I play any of the custom shop stuff and it's just
game on
how good it is.
It's game. And like Fender production is such a high level. If you're playing like the Ultra Luxes or the American Vintage 2s or the American Pro 2s. I mean, the leap to custom shop
good. It's there.
It's big,
but it's less.
But it's not. That's where, I think you can still get close. You get an American Vintage too.
God, you're right there.
That's custom shop light, in my opinion. Yeah. It really is. Like you're skating in the same.
And you don't necessarily feel that way, which I don't know. I want to go play some more standards, like the '50s standards and stuff, Les Pauls, which hopefully we will have that experience pretty soon.
Well, we shall see. Stay tuned. But Now, so now it leaves like you have to ask that question yourself, like why am I buying a vintage? Why am I buying a custom shop? Like what is your rationale? What is your desire? Like if you're buying it for pure hanging on a wall and you want to have something old and stuff, get a vintage all the way. If you're buying it just to like maybe turn that down the road as well and play it and enjoy it along the way, that makes more sense.
Sure, for sure
It
it
makes
does.
more sense. If you're actually going to play it, record with it, make it your guitar that you're just having fun with too, not professionally, just fun. I think Custom Shop wins the battle almost every day.
Yeah, it does for me. I mean, you said it. The bottom line is, what do you want? What excites you? What's more fun?
It excites me.
Just know
Lots of things.
there's probably a little more challenges in getting that vintage piece.
And it's tricky, don't get me wrong.
what you
A
wanna do.
custom shop is expensive now too. Like
God, yeah.
you can spend as much as a vintage on some. Even with Martin, we get the authentic aged, your $8,000-$9,000 acoustic guitars that are brand new. They're probably some of the best guitars I've ever played though.
Man, when the best endorsement for that is if you follow the old Instagrams and you see Guthrie Trapp's been buying up acoustics and he buys the 37 authentic Martin on Tom Bukovic's recommendation. Hey, if you want a great acoustic, buy this.
It's insane how good that guitar is. Because I've played tons of vintage Martins and like it's a mixed bag, man. Like it's not the guitars are bad or not, but the time just has a toll on acoustics in a different way than it does on electrics sometimes. And man, those authentic aged
are so
or
good.
just the authentics too.
They're probably the best acoustics I've ever played. And then you play something like the Murphy Lab Gibson stuff. It's amazing. They're for sure the best Gibson acoustics I've ever played.
And I have vintage acoustic Gibsons and Martins and stuff.
Too, yeah.
And I think the Murphy Labs are probably better sounding and playing guitars in some ways. They're not as cool, but maybe they are as cool. I don't know. It's yeah, cause I put my 65 Hummingbird up against like a normal new Murphy Lab. I think the new Hummingbird might win.
Yours has a thing, right, that it does.
It does a thing, but it's like it's not like.
But overall, as a guitar, like just an overall.
I love it.
It was awesome, and it's old. Like something about knowing you're picking up that old guitar is kind of magical, but
like knowing that Johnny Cash's "Hurt" was recorded on that guitar. And that Crimson and Clover was recorded on that guitar.
What?
And Kiss recorded Detroit Rock City on that guitar, the acoustic version. It was on Yo Gabba Gabba, season 3, episode 4. That's not true. I made all that up. I'm sorry. It's just an old guitar. But no. So have fun with your journey out there. Whatever you choose, you're gonna have fun. You're gonna have a lot more problems than vintage. But it's the fun problems to have. I have vintage guitars and I enjoy them. So let us know your journey. We would love to help. If you have any custom shop or vintage questions,
hit us up.
Yeah, we're there. Click like, subscribe.
Hit the bell.
Have fun and forever play guitar until you can't.
Guitars and Cadillacs.
Yeah.
Little Billy music.